My name is Miles Morales. I'm Brooklyn's one and only Spider-Man. And things are going great.
Oh yeah, you were supposed to be here at 5.
Alright, whatever.
Whatever?
Wow.
Whatever?
So are you like a cow or a Dalmatian?
I am the Spot. It's not funny.
Don't do that.
Miles's grades are pretty good. A in AP Physics.
That's my little man.
And a B in Spanish.
What?
Ooh, okay.
Miles.
Are you trying
Mira,
to
es
kill me,
imposible.
I gotta go. Alright, bye.
He's lying to you. And I think you know it.
What's up, danger?
Miles! Want to get out of here?
Oh, when? So wait a minute. There's an elite crew with all the best spider people in it?
Who's the new guy?
This is unbelievable.
This is the lobby. Miguel O'Hara. The whole thing was his idea.
What's a guy gotta do to join this spider team?
You can never be part of this.
Don't even get me started on Doctor Strange and the little nerd back on Earth 1999-99.
Come on, go easy on the kid. He had a terrible teacher.
Peter!
Miles!
Mayday! You have a baby?
I have a baby.
I'll take it from here. Miles, being Spider-Man is a sacrifice. You have a choice between saving one person and saving every world.
Send me home.
I can't do that.
I can do both! Spider-Man always...
Not always.
What about Uncle Ben?
If not for Uncle Ben, most of us wouldn't be here.
Can't stop me now!
You can't run forever, kid!
I can't lose one more friend.
That isn't what we talked about!
You knew it?
You have no idea what you're doing!
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah. I'm gonna do my own thing.
All stations, stop Spider-Man.
You? What, me? And then I looked at my uncle and...
Let me guess. He died?
Hello everyone and welcome to an all new episode of Palace Off the Top Rope. Thank you so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. And on deck for today's episode, we're going to be going across the Spider-Verse, or basically just anything Spider-Man in general, because in the house today, I've got my daughter, little Bella, or not so little anymore. You're heading to what, 7th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So it's actually we've been doing a lot of Spider-Man the last couple of visits that you've been over. We can talk about all of that, but I want us to start off with the Spider-Verse movies. So we rewatched the first one today. Had you seen that one before, or did you need like a refresher? Because me, it's become one of those really good rewatchable movies, and I loved the first one a lot, that being Into the Spider-Verse. It's almost like, to me, the second best Spider-Man movie that's ever been made. But for you, had you seen it before, or did you not really remember it, or what are your first memories of that movie?
I had seen it before, but I kind of needed a little refresher because I don't remember a lot what happened in that movie since it has been a long time since I've watched it.
So the first time that you saw it, do you remember liking it a lot, or kind of just like, whatever?
Yeah, I liked it. I remember it was really enjoyable to watch and sit through.
But what about today during the rewatch? Did you find yourself liking it more, or stuff that maybe you didn't catch the first time that you caught this time around? Was it funnier? Or like just your overall thoughts on it?
I definitely had more of a laughter in this one. I guess the first time I was like, whatever, but it was still enjoyable. And then this one, because I've been going through liking Spider-Man a lot, I don't know why, but this one, it made me like it a lot more than I did probably the first time I watched it.
So before we dive into the second movie, is there a certain character that you like from the first one, or just anyone in general? Because we can talk about my favorites right now. But what was the favorite character of yours?
Yours is.
No, the audience doesn't. You know, but the audience doesn't know. But what was Who's your favorite character from the first one? And it's okay to say Miles Morales because he's the main character, but is there another character that maybe was your favorite or that you liked a lot?
I liked Miles Morales a lot. Like, he's the main character. He had a lot of, like, funny moments. I mean, I think the second would be definitely Peter Parker. He had definitely, like, a very laughable
Which
moment.
version? Because there's two different versions of Peter Parker in this movie. So which one did you like? Did you like the one at the beginning that was played by Chris Pine, and he's the one that's come out like in Wonder Woman, and he's also in Star Trek. I'm sure you've seen him in the Disney movies that he's been in. So did you like that Peter Parker, or the other one that was kind of like out of shape, liked to eat, was kind of like depressed a little bit? Which one did you like?
Definitely the one that comes out later, because he's so funny to watch. Because, like, I don't know, he just makes you laugh a lot.
Yeah, he's played by Jake Johnson, and he comes out, I don't know if you've ever seen the TV show New Girl, that's where he's mostly known for, but he's voiced a lot of stuff, but he's also been in some movies as well, but I think he was really good as the character of Peter Parker. For me, my favorite character in Into the Spider-Verse was Peter Porker, who I guess aka known as Spider-Ham, I think is what he's called in the movie.
Yeah.
He's voiced by John Mulaney. Now, you were just a couple of minutes ago, before we started recording, you were singing the Chip and Dale song. So he was one of the voices in that movie. I forgot if he was Chip or Dale. So he's one of the voices too. So I like he's a comedian. I like his style, and his character of Peter Porker in Into the Spider-Verse is just such a delight. And we're going to be spoiling a little bit. I know Across the Spider-Verse just came out this weekend, but if you haven't listened to it, stop this podcast, go see the movie, and then come back and hit play. So just giving you a heads up, we are going to be talking spoilers, because we did see the new movie today, and we will be discussing it a little bit at length, and just stuff that we liked about it, and just any questions that we may have surrounding it. So now that we've talked about Into the Spider-Verse, we obviously both liked the first movie, and we had our fresh rewatch, and then immediately we found tickets. Luckily, I found tickets at a small AMC theater up in Boerne, Texas, because everywhere was sold out. I won't get into box office specifics yet, but right now it's looking like Across the Spider-Verse is going to open to like around 110, around 120 million opening weekend, which is like triple what the first one did. The first one opened to 35 million. So obviously it gained a lot of popularity since the first one came out. It's been 5 years. I was listening to another podcast earlier, and they said originally Across the Spider-Verse was supposed to come out 2 years ago, and obviously we were still in the pandemic, so a lot of movies got delayed, but also this one I think still needed work on like the animation and the story and all that stuff. And sometimes it's good when a movie's delayed, because then it gives them more time to work out on the stuff. We've seen how stuff like that could work in its favor. Top Gun Maverick, which is celebrating its first year anniversary. That's one of the movies you really liked a lot.
Yeah.
And that was a long wait and delayed, but you know, they were able to do all the stuff that they needed to do to make like a really good movie. Alright, so we found tickets to Across the Spider-Verse. We went to go see it today. What are your first initial thoughts of the movie?
I loved it. The way it played out was very well. Nice animation to it, nice graphics they added to it, which is just like overall a good movie. I loved it.
This is a hard question because you only saw it that once, but did you enjoy this one a little bit more? I know it ends on a cliffhanger than the first movie, or how are you feeling overall? Like, do you think this is a better movie than the first one? Like, did it improve, or was it just as good?
It definitely improved than the first one, but obviously the original is always going to be better. And I like Into the Spider-Verse a teensy bit more than Across the Spider-Verse, but I still very much enjoy Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse. They were both really good movies.
Yeah, I thought this one was an exceptional sequel. It expands obviously on the universe because, you know, Spider-Verse. So if you're not going to expand on it, then why continue to do these movies? So
yeah.
On that part, it did really well. So, you know, they went to all these different dimensions and they introduced like a million more like spider people, which is, of course, is what's going to be the hook for a lot of people because you can blink. The only reason I'd probably watch this one again was to see if I could catch more of the Easter eggs that are in there. I mean, obviously we caught the obvious ones like I told you like, oh look, there's Toby and there's Andrew Garfield and just little things like that. But I mean, I thought it was a really, really solid movie. And just like you, I still think the first one is way better. And the way I was explaining it to you is that when I saw the first one, I went into it with like, not really like no expectations, but I was just like, oh, it's, a cartoon Spider-Man movie, like whatever. Like we've seen superhero comic stories before. How's this one going to be any different? And it just like blew me completely away. It was like a different style of animation, taking from like, the Korean animes and stuff like that. It implemented all these different things. So it completely blew my expectations, and it was such a wow movie. And also it's so rewatchable. I mentioned that rewatched it today, but I actually watched it like a day before, like that you all came over this weekend. So I can just watch it like plenty of times. This one, I don't know how the rewatchability is going to be of it, because I think it was just a little bit too long. I think they could have trimmed it a little bit. Not that I'm not complaining. Like it was never boring, but like sometimes for rewatchability, like the length plays a little bit too. But I mean, I'm not taking away anything. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, folks. Like I love this movie. I definitely recommend it. It's gonna be number one, I think, for a while, and I think it's gonna have a lot of people coming out. And I work at a movie theater. I can definitely see this one going to be playing out for weeks and weeks. People are going to come back and watch it. Also just because there's all that stuff that you can catch. But definitely a worthy, tremendous sequel. It ends on a cliffhanger. Do you want to talk about some of the things that specifically that you liked in this movie that you can remember? I know sometimes it's hard because you're soaking it all in. But what was one of the things that was really intriguing about this story for you?
I definitely like the ending. Like when they all come out.
It's okay, we can spoil it. We're talking spoilers now, folks. So if you have not seen it, please pause the podcast, go see the movie, come back and hit play. So you enjoyed the ending of the movie. So, well, let's talk about. Do you want to explain what the story is, or do you want me to explain it, or do you feel like you can kind of sum it up what it's about?
Okay, so basically, it starts off with Miles obviously being Spider-Man and like dealing with this villain called Spots, I don't know what his name is. And then he has to go like to a meeting with his parents to like work on his grades and about college, even though he's a sophomore. And then take it more, Gwen shows up. Oh wait, no, Gwen starts the movie off.
There's a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah, there's like different parts that like not all of it's gonna come to my head right now, but the movie starts off with Gwen fighting this like, or no.
She's basically like in her own world doing her spider stuff, right?
Like it starts off different. It's not starting off with Miles' story. It starts off with her story and what happens in her universe.
And it goes on for a while too.
Yeah,
like
I think it was about like maybe 15 minutes of the movie at the beginning. And then that's just that little part. And then she meets up with these two guys, or a girl and a guy, and so they're good guys, but you don't know more about them. Like, if you watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, we get, like, a little clip of this guy that is, like, talking with another Spider-Man. He's, like fixing the multiverse, or Spider-Verse, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then we see them, and then Miguel is his name. He gives Gwen this, like, watch thing, and it allows her to go to any dimension she wants to fight off the villains and get them to their regular dimension
without glitching. That's what the whole point of the watch is. Yeah, without glitching.
And then moves on. Then it's Miles fighting that Spots guy, and then going to the meeting, and then from there he's again fighting with Spots, and then later on he's talking with his dad, even though his dad doesn't know that that's him, saying how he should kind of relax on Miles and like take it easy on him. And then
you kind of like remember the whole movie. I thought you said you weren't going to remember it, but it's pretty like the beats of it. So basically also what's going on here is that, you know, these people are kind of like missing each other. That was one of my favorite things about the movie. It's like there's kind of like this little like hidden love, like where Miles is fawning over Gwen. He's got like pictures of her and drawings of her. He just misses her, whether as a friend or more than a friend. Same thing for Gwen. Like she's missing Miles, wants to know what he's up to. And basically these the head of the, I guess, multiverse, or like just like police of the multiverse is headed up by this Miguel character voiced by Oscar Isaac. And he lets Gwen into this little like society, which is supposedly a small group, which is told to Gwen. But it ends up later being like all the Spider-Mans are kind of in on it. And there's just all this like multiversal stuff going on, and it can get kind of complicated, but at the core of it, it's about the characters. You care about Miles, you care about Gwen, you care about what happens to them. Obviously the Easter eggs are all fun in there, and they're cool to laugh at. There's a Donald Glover cameo, which I enjoyed. He comes out actually in Spider-Man Homecoming. He's one of like the thieves that talks to Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the parking lot and telling him to, to get better at his job. So, there's fun little Easter eggs like that. Again, full spoilers, so sorry if we're ruining it for you. But yeah, that was my favorite thing about this movie, and why I think it improves on being a good sequel, is that it gets you more invested in the characters, and even by the time we get to the end of it, even though it ends in a cliffhanger, you're like, man, I want to know what's going to happen to Miles. I want to know how Gwen's going to help out, and they bring back a lot of the characters from the first movie that you hadn't seen at all since the first, including my boy Peter Porker. So I got teary-eyed at the end of the movie. I was like, there he is, like he's gonna come help, and we're only gonna have to wait like about less than a year. I think it comes out next March, unless they move it, but as far as I know, it's gonna come out March next year, so hopefully it's not that much longer of a wait, because it just was a really, really fantastic movie. Was there any... I felt like the music was still kind of more iconic in the first movie than this one, even though the music was still good.
Yeah, the music was definitely like good in this one, but I definitely still prefer the first soundtrack from the first movie. The music is overall really good. Like, I love how they do it and like make it fit into the movie without it like being like so randomly put in there.
As a you wouldn't call yourself like a comic book expert, would you?
No, I don't read a lot of comics.
But do you follow basically what's happening in this one? Because there's a lot of it gets very comic booky with all the universes and dimensions and all that stuff. But do you feel like as a movie it told the story pretty well, that you were able to follow it?
Yeah, it definitely told the story pretty well. Like, there's no way you could get lost in what's happening. But it plays out very well, so you can understand what's happening at this moment and why it's happening.
So the first movie actually won the Oscar for Best Animated Movie, so that's a high bar in itself. Do you see this one getting nominated again for Best Picture for Animated?
Yes, definitely, because it was definitely a lot of graphics and animation that went into it. And it's overall really good in animation. Whoever does it, or all the people that do it, did an amazing job working with it. It's definitely more graphic than the first one, but it fits very well into the movie. Yeah,
it's a little darker, I think. Well, I feel it's pretty dark for a PG movie. There's a lot of guns and...
There's definitely a lot of language in it. Well, not a lot of language, but there's a little bit of language that you can hear.
Well, even in you go back to the first Spider-Verse movie, when Kingpin kills the first Spider-Man, he crushes him, and I was I was even shocked in the theater when I saw that. I was like, wow, they actually did that in a cartoon movie. Now, it's hard to call this a kids movie, even though it's animated. It is a little bit more for teens and up, but I mean, you could still take your family to it. I still think overall it's a family friendly movie, and a lot of it is based on family, because it's about relationships between fathers and sons and fathers and daughters, specifically with Gwen and her dad. Do you like the character of Gwen Stacy in the different versions that you've seen her in? Which one has been your favorite? Obviously you saw her in the Tobey Maguire version. She comes out in the part 3. She comes out there. So she's kind of just a girl in that movie. Yeah. And then when it comes to the Amazing Spider-Man, that was Emma Stone was playing her. And then obviously we got this version now with the Spider-Verse. Which version of Gwen Stacy do you like?
I mean, I didn't like Spider-Man 3's Gwen Stacy. I wouldn't say I liked her, because she's kind of just there and she doesn't do anything. The Amazing Spider-Man Gwen, I loved how they put her in the storyline, and even though it's sad that she died, but it makes him it makes him grow better.
Okay.
And then the Gwen Stacy in this movie, she does an awesome role in it, even though she kind of hurts Miles in parts of the movie, but it'll help him like get stronger and kind of overcome it.
I actually didn't catch in the beginning of Across the Spider-Verse that they're kind of going through the movie really quickly. If you notice, like she was like, because there was some stuff going on. I was like, why does she think Miles is going to hate her, this and that? And then by the time you get to the end of the movie, it's like, oh wow, he is kind of like mad at her for her kind of dragging him into this situation and all of this revelations going on. Just really good stuff. I really like this Gwen Stacy. In the first movie, she's kind of also just there a little bit. I feel like she has more to do in this one, and they give her character more context because she's battling the same stuff like Miles, right? Like the relationship with the parents and, you know, finding her place among like having friends and whatnot, because obviously the whole theme of being Spider-Man is, you know, balancing being a kid or a young adult and saving the city and all that stuff and your home life. So they do a good job on improving her character in the second movie. So overall, thumbs up for me. I would rate this. I rate my movies from 1 to 4. I would rate Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 3.5 stars out of 4. The first one I give 4 stars. I think that's a perfect movie. What was missing that half star to make it 4 for this one for me was also just because it's not a complete movie. It cuts off because it's a cliffhanger, but it's still a really, really fantastic sequel. So that's why it still gets 3.5 stars. So it's a really good sequel for me. How many stars would you give it? Or how do you rate your movies?
I do my movies like 1 out of 10.
Okay.
Like 1 through 10. I give it a 9.5 out of 10 because of the cliffhanger, I really want to know what happens to Miles and Gwen's character. But that makes me want to see the next movie more and like get really pumped up for it.
So, I forgot. Before we went to go see it, did you already know there was going to be another part, or did you go into this kind of blind?
Well, I was actually searching up the Spider-Man movies, like, just to see, and then all of a sudden I saw the Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, and I was like, oh, they're making a third movie. And I was like, okay, well, let's see how this one plays out to lead to that one, because I thought Beyond the Spider-Verse was just going to be, like, another thing dealing with it, but I didn't kind of see it being sequel parts to, like, being 2 parts.
See, this is where I kind of wish like the internet didn't exist, because I would have loved to have gone into this movie not knowing that there was going to be another part, and it just leaves it to be continued. Because I would have been like, oh man, like that makes it like so much better because it leaves you hanging, wanting more, but you have to wait. But going into it, I knew there was going to be another part, so I was getting a little bit of anxiety towards the end because I'm like, where is it going to cut off? Because it's kind of like just going and going.
Yeah. And
it's weird because usually that's not how movies work. Movies have like a beginning, middle, and end. Even if there's going to be like another part, usually movies have like a finale to it and then they tease you at the very end. But this one literally cuts off like right as things are about to get going again. Yeah. And it just has to be continued. And like I said, I think the next one it's slated for March of next year, so we won't have to wait too long. Still a couple months away, but better than having to wait like 2 years or another 5 years, like the way there was for this anticipation for it. So yeah, so you give it 9.5 out of 10. I give it 3.5 stars out of 4. Very, very highly recommend this. It's for everybody. And I think it's going to have long legs at the movie theater. People are going to come back to watch this. I'm already making the prediction right now. Next week, Transformers comes out, and I think Spider-Man is going to beat it. If the projections are right for the box office, where it's going to hit like 120 million, it already has the biggest opening ever of the year with 51 million. That's higher than Mario Brothers. That's higher than Guardians. So it looks like this movie is going to make a whole lot of money. So I'm already predicting next weekend it's going to beat Transformers. And there's somebody out there that thinks Transformers is going to do so good, but I'm like, no. At first I thought it wasn't going to do good either way because it's like the 7th Transformers movie. But now that Spider-Verse has opened big and it's like getting really good reviews, and I think everyone's going to like it. I think it's got a A score from the audience. People are going to come back and watch it. So just watch. Spider-Man will be number 1 next weekend.
I'm not really a big fan of the Transformers movie. I was never really into it. I think definitely the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is going to have more of an impact. And like, the Spider-Man movies have an effect on teenagers. Like, they just love the character of Miles. But I think they kind of, in some parts, they kind of like connect with Miles when he kind of fights with his family for specific reasons. But like, kids connect to Miles, and then they love all the action, and then the kids, the little ones, probably think it's cool when he shoots his webs and goes into action.
I actually want to talk to you about that a little bit, because before you told me that you were into these Spider-Man movies and whatnot, I thought this one was gonna open better than the original. Like, I didn't have like really like super big box office numbers for this. But then when you told me like a few weeks ago, you're like, man, everybody at school, all they're talking about is the Spider-Verse and all that. I started telling people at work, I was like, hey, like, I kind of gauge what the younger audience is into by what my kids are talking about. And she's saying that all the kids at school are talking about Spider-Verse. And I kept telling them, like, just watch out for this movie when it comes out. It's going to be big. And they were like, yeah, I mean, I think it'll do all right. And I'm like, no, like, you got to pay attention to what the younger generation's getting into. So my question to you is, like, what are the conversations that have been happening at school? Like, what about Spider-Man, specifically like these Spider-Verse movies that are getting like all the talk from school?
I'm not really sure why it gets like this much like popular, but everybody was like talking about how they're not going to be free June 2nd because they're going to go see the movie, and then.
But what is it? Do they like the movie itself, the animation, the character? Because they're telling it from Miles Morales' point of view, which is like a newer version of the character, as opposed to like the ones that I've always grown up with, which is always Peter Parker's like the main. Even he is still the main Spider-Man, because you look at the Tom Holland movies, but Miles Morales is like, it's more diverse. It's, you know, he's got Latin roots, Hispanic roots in him. You know, his mom speaks Spanish and all that. So a lot of that stuff is relatable. Like, what is it about the Miles Morales character where it's connecting with this generation?
I think it's kind of the stuff that he feels. Like, he's going through everything the young generation feels. Going through, like, love interest, going through family issues, or, like, relationships with, like, fighting. Because, like, you're growing up and then you're going to have probably fights with your family about specific things. Like, even little things you could lead to fights. But it's just kind of him growing up, getting used to being this new, not normal teenager. And not all the kids are normal. Like, everybody's all different in a good way. And it's just like, his character connects to so many people. I'm not particularly sure why, but everybody just loves the character. And I'm pretty sure everybody loves the movies. Everybody loves even the original Spider-Man, so good. But I feel like for them, the cutoff is probably Tom Holland's movie. They prefer the Amazing Spider-Man movies and the Tobey Maguire.
That's another question I can get into, because you, like I said, in the last couple of times that you've come to stay over with me, you were actually rewatching like all the Spider-Man movies, going back to the Tobey Maguire. Do you connect to any of those Spider-Man movies after having watched any of those, or are you kind of like, oh, this probably from Dad's time? Like, I don't get what he sees in these, but were you thinking that, or do you find relatable stuff in that? Some of the same themes, or no?
I don't connect with any of the movies. I think they're really interesting to watch. Like, you can always rewatch them. Like, when at school, when we have like, so I have this like class for healthy habits, and we always have like flex days, and they let us be on our phones, and I would always be putting on the Spider-Man movies and like watching, because they're easily and like rewatchable. They're not movies that can get old and like not want to watch again.
Okay. I've done this on another podcast, but I can do it for this one. You even asked me off air, like, to rank all the Spider-Mans. Could you rank your stuff right now, or no? Because we can go through my list if you want, and then we can just talk about it from there.
You rank yours first, and then maybe if I wrote like.
Can you at least name three of them, like that are your top three? Can you at least do that? Well, you don't have to say now. We can go through my list first.
Okay.
Okay, so my number one favorite Spider-Man movie of all time is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. And you've always asked me, like, what is it? Why do you like that movie so much?
Yeah.
So what I love about that movie is because it's more about the inner conflict in that movie. It's not so much that he's fighting Doc Ock or, it's him realizing that he can't have it all. He can't have that normal life that he wants to and also be that superhero that has got to save the city. He has to kind of balance one over the other.
Yeah.
And what I love about that movie is that while he's dealing with that, he loses his powers for a little bit.
Yeah.
He loses the ability to, shoot web, fly or whatever, crawl on the walls, all that stuff. And it's a real, it's a mind movie. It's all of him dealing with personal issues more than it's the big bad villain. So that's why I really love Spider-Man 2. The second one I like is the first Into the Spider-Verse. Because I remember I went into that movie with just really nothing. I thought it's going to be an animated movie. That's it. And I was just blown away by the storytelling, the animation, the self-awareness. I knew it was made by the Miller brothers, and they kind of brought some of that 21 Jump Street humor, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, that just really meta commentary and humor. And they brought it into the Spider-Man. Even in the movie itself, it makes fun of the other Spider-Man movies, which is kind of like the brilliance of these movies, is that it's self-aware of what it's doing while telling a really, really good Spider-Man story. So that's my number 2 favorite. Number 3 is the first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. Because it does tell a good origin story from a younger Spider-Man, which we hadn't really seen before, because the Tobey, even though they told him from high school, those actors looked really older than what they are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when they shot Tobey's, he was maybe around his late 20s or early 20s.
Yes.
But he was in high school, but then I think in the next couple movies he was in college.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he was a senior or junior in those movies.
Yeah. And then in the Amazing Spider-Man, again, Andrew Garfield, yes, looks like a teen, but I already feel like he was already aging out of the teen roles because he was already doing other serious movies. Because, I pay attention to what the other actors were doing, and Tobey was doing the same thing. But they were also in all these other movies, but then it was weird to kind of see him play a teenager again, even though he could pull it off. But when we got to Tom Holland, they kind of casted a really younger actor, and they were going to tell a more really teenager story. And the first one, I think, out of all the Spider-Man movies, it's just the real fun, young Spider-Man just figuring out his way in the world, obviously mixed in with all the MCU stuff. The inclusion of Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man is cool at the points that he's there to be the mentor. And then, of course, I love Michael Keaton as the Vulture villain because he's just so good. I always think of the car scene when they're going to Homecoming and the Vulture figures out who Spider-Man is and he gives him this threatening talk. And it's just so good. The movie's just, it's very, very rewatchable. So when you were watching that one here, I was like, I can't wait till she gets to that one because I really love to see that version of it. So Homecoming is my third favorite. And then number 4, I think I'm going to have Across the Spider-Verse on there. Again, it was just a really good, we just went through the whole thing, so I won't talk about it again. So I'll have that one at number 4. At number 5, there's always just a soft spot for the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire just because when it came out, it was such a huge deal. At the time when it came out, no movie had ever opened to 100 million. And that movie just blew that right out of the water. So it was just never before seen. And I remember my dad, your grandpa, taking us to see it at the drive-in theater, which is where you can watch it from your car and you watch it on the big screen. You turn the radio station on to watch the movie. So that's how we saw that first movie. So I have nostalgic memories because of that. So that's why I have it kind of ranked high. Even though the movie's kind of cheesy now, the graphics are kind of bad and all that stuff. At number 6, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. I think overall as a movie, it's okay. The first half of it is kind of alright, we all kind of want to know what we want to get to, and that's the Tobey and Andrew showing up, which is kind of the last hour of that movie.
Yeah.
So that's number 6. And then at 7 and 8, I have the Andrew Garfield movies, number 1 and 2 behind each other. And then finally at number 9 is Spider-Man Far From Home, which came right after Endgame, so it was kind of a weird time. But also the movie just, for me, doesn't work as a whole. It's kind of just a whatever adventure. even though Jake Gyllenhaal's in it as the villain and he's like the best part of it. But I thought that whole movie was kind of just like, it's so like, you don't really miss anything by not seeing it, to be honest. Even though technically you should watch all these movies if you want to understand what's going on, but you really don't miss anything. So that's my ranking of the, I think, 9 Spider-Man movies. I think I have all of them. I'm pretty sure. I got the 3 Tobys in there. Oh no, wait, I didn't rank Spider-Man 3, did I?
No.
Oh gosh. I would probably lump that somewhere in between definitely after No Way Home and before The Amazing Spider-Mans. Because even though Spider-Man 3's it's a mess. That movie started off good, but then it goes off the rails. But I still enjoy it. I can still rewatch it and have fun with it. That's a weird thing. I can rewatch bad movies and still enjoy them, even though I know they're bad.
It's because they're so hilarious to watch.
Well, yeah, there's comedic to it, but also like it's just like if it's on TV, I'll watch it.
It's so cringy to see the bad movies.
But I can still have fun as opposed to like The Amazing Spider-Man, where it's like I have to be in the mood to watch him, or just really have nothing else going on. So we'll turn to you next. Like, what are your top 3? If you can name more, that's fine. But I'll at least take your top 3 Spider-Man movies and your reasons why.
The first one, I think I'm gonna do Into the Spider-Verse. Just overall, a very good movie. Loved it. And then second, I'm gonna do The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Why?
I just love how that movie plays out. Even though he's kind of like not the nerdy type of Spider-Man we normally see. He's kind of gothic emo kind of kid, but he's also like kind of like the lover boy, like because Gwen Stacy falls for him not too long into the movie.
She like from the moment she sees him, she's like into him, so it doesn't even take long.
Next is Across the Spider-Verse. I love that movie. Definitely would watch it.
Oh wow, over like No Way Home and any of even the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That one's kind of a mess.
But you still like it though, right? That's a fun one you could watch again. So who's your favorite Spider-Man? Is it still Andrew Garfield?
No, I have to say Miles Morales.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield's probably my second favorite, and then it's Tobey, and then it's Tom Holland.
Wow, you have Tom Holland ranked that low. Interesting. I thought he'd be ranked higher for you.
It's only for a couple, like I would say probably Far From Home, because that was just kind of like a random movie they threw in there.
Yeah.
Fourth would be No Way Home. Love that movie. Could watch it so many times over and over. Love the ending. The beginning takes kind of forever to get to the point, but at the end it like makes it really enjoyable to watch. Like the beginning's enjoyable. It kind of takes forever to get to the point where we all want to see it happen. Next would be number 5. I'm going to do Spider-Man 1, Tobey Maguire's. Love that movie because it's like the introduction to all the Spider-Mans. He's like the one that...
He's the OG.
He's the OG. He's like the main person that starts the journey. Even though there's like all the animated Spider-Mans before him, he's still like the original Spider-Man.
Live action.
Yeah. And then definitely do Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire.
Do you like that one or no? You can be honest.
No, I like it. I mean, it was a good movie. I don't remember all of it right now, but it was a good movie. Like, it wasn't too cringy, too corny. It was like, okay. Next movie probably be Homecoming. I don't think I even seen that one until like I was watching it, like going through all the Spider-Mans. But that one was a good movie. It was okay, like because I didn't really like. I remembered parts from it. I just don't remember like all of it when I saw it. I
need to ask you: do you like it when it's more separate? Like because Homecoming obviously had Iron Man in it.
Yeah.
And all the stuff from the MCU, even in Far From Home, Nick Fury and all that stuff. Do you like it that he's involved with the Avengers stuff, or do you like it when it's more personal and it's more just his world?
His world, because it like focuses more on him. And like even though the movies play out well, you really just want to focus on his storyline. Like when Miles Morales, it focuses on his storyline. but it also only focuses on one other person's storyline, which is Gwen Stacy's.
Yeah.
But like with the Tom Holland movies, they kind of expanded with the Marvel universe, Nick Fury, like all of this other like stuff. I ranked number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put it there. It was an okay movie, like kind of random in there. My next would probably be Spider-Man 3. Very cringy.
You like Far From Home more than Spider-Man 3?
Well, no, switch that.
I was gonna say Far From Home. I don't know. That's just me.
Spider-Man
I just think it's
3 was definitely it was definitely better than Far From Home, but Spider-Man 3 very, very cringy. It just kind of cringes me out because of like how he's like this normal, happy, nerdy kid, and then goes to like this emo kid who's going through a phase of how like because he gets the venom in him and like deals with that through like half the movie. And then his little dance scene, which made me cringe so much. Yeah. Next.
But it's like a meme now, so it's like kind of, it has a life of its own now. In in a funny way, but that's kind of like the legacy of that movie now is that it's a whole meme. And the Bully Maguire.
Then it'd be Far From Home. And then the last movie I have is The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's your worst. Okay, and I even told you it's the worst one, and you're still like, oh, okay.
The reason why I put it that low is because I hate what they did with Harry Osborn. They ruined that character.
You're a frog, Spider-Man.
And then the Electrolyte or Electro. He's blue, and then once we get to the No Way Home, like he's just a whole different character. It was just kind of weird how they played that part out. It was just kind of a cringy movie, but what makes it better is when they killed off Gwen Stacy. Even though it's sad, but it grows Spider-Man as a person and as a hero.
I agree with that. That's like the big emotional thing that... Because like what sometimes these movies miss is like having like the stakes. Like because nobody ever dies or anything like that. But then when her character died in that movie, you're like, whoa, like that was kind of like a big deal. And the way he reacts to it. And even in No Way Home when he has that whole speech, like I kind of went dark. I got dark and I stopped pulling my punches, meaning like he was beating up bad guys like badly. So that kind of makes me interested if they ever made another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, or if they to see like how he reacted over that. That would be interesting. I don't know if they'll ever make it. There was rumors that they were gonna do it, but they might have just been rumors. But who knows? Now that they're doing all these multiverse and and not just Marvel, even DC, they're doing. The Flash is coming up. There's going to be 2 Batmans in one movie. Like the possibilities are just endless now with them doing stuff like that. So like them doing like another Andrew Garfield movie would not shock or surprise me. There's even rumors that Tobey Maguire would even come back and do like a Spider-Man 4 for his series. I'm just saying like nothing's off the table now.
Anything can go.
Yeah.
It all fits.
Well, what are you more excited for? The conclusion of the Spider-Verse movie or the next Tom Holland one?
Ooh, that's a difficult choice. I mean, I kind of want to see both.
But which one are you like, oh, I have to see like the next one?
I think it's going to be a wow for the Tom Holland. It's definitely Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, not the universe. I really want to see what happens in that storyline. I remember when we were walking out the theater, there was these people behind us, and they were kind of predicting what's going to happen next. And one of the person said that they think Miles Morales is going to die. But I think that'd be too strong to kill him off because he's like the main character.
Yeah.
But I can see if they were to kill off like Peter Parker or Peter Porker.
Oh,
I could see that happen.
That would make me cry. I cried when he showed up at the end of the part 2. So
I just think what would make it better. I don't think they should kill off his dad. Because in almost every Spider-Man, literally
because that was the whole point of the movie, right? They were like, this has to happen for all of our stories to matter, or they could fall apart.
Yeah, but I think the reason why his dad has to get cut off is because the rest of the Spider-Man, none of them has like had a dad. always had like Uncle Ben die, which is sad in a way. They always have to kill him off.
Well,
But
they always have a
Holland,
Well, they always have a character that dies. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is like there has to be reason for why they do what they do.
Yeah.
And Miles Morales wants to change that.
Yeah.
Because even it's not spoilers. It's in the trailers. Like everyone tells me how my story's supposed to go, and now I'm gonna do my own thing. So the movie kind of subverts our expectations, and also we don't know. They could go that same route and kill off the dad and have that be his Uncle Ben moment, or he saves him and gets the best of both worlds, where he gets to have the
He did
family.
have an Uncle Ben moment. It was with Uncle Aaron or whatever his name is.
Kind of, I think.
But like that one, I think that one made him grow more. But if if they were to kill off his dad, I think that'd have a bigger impact. And it would make him turn into the Spider-Man, like Andrew Garfield when Uncle Ben died.
Mm-hmm.
All the Spider-Mans, when Uncle Ben died, I feel like it would go into him and want to kill all these people. And probably even hurt the good guys, because he's so mad at them for kind of hiding all this from him and telling him right at the end, 2 days before his dad's supposedly supposed to die.
Yeah.
And he's trying to change it before it happens. And if I were to experience that too, I'd definitely do it too. I would not listen to anybody say that it has to happen, even though it changed the whole world.
Right.
It changed the whole multiverse.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what makes the next movie interesting, is what they're going to do. And obviously at the end of it, Gwen Stacy gets kicked out of whatever that Miguel character has planned. And it just kicks back to the beginning of the movie, because she's always like, I've always tried to be in a band and I've never fit in or whatever. And then at the end of the movie, she's like, I started my own band, and she brings back all the characters from the first movie along with the newer friends that they made in this one. And it's just like, it was such a feel good moment, but also like, oh man, they're going to cut it off right there.
And I kind of wish it didn't cut off right there, but if they did like put Beyond the Spider-Verse into that one, it'd be like really long.
Yeah.
But I think it's good that they cut it off there, because the suspension is so high. Like everybody wants to see the movie now. And I feel like it's going to reach a lot of like people to go watch it, because everybody like is so curious to what's going to happen now. And like there's going to be a lot of predictions probably on what's going to happen, probably months before the movie even comes out yet.
Yeah.
Before we even get a trailer.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be reviews on the trailer and what's going to happen.
It's going to be fun. Be interesting.
Yeah.
Last thing before I get to my final question for you. And it'll be like on a different topic. But are you going to go see that movie again, or are you going to wait a while to watch Across the Spider-Verse again?
I'm actually going to see it in like a couple weeks with my friends and like their little relationship thing.
Oh yeah, you're going to be the third wheel?
Yeah, I'm going to be a third wheel with my bestie, my friend, and we're going to all go watch it. Even though I promised them I wouldn't go watch it.
Whoops. Hopefully they don't hear this, but I mean, either way, you'll get to experience the movie again with your friends, and I mean, you'll enjoy it. Probably better a second time, because you'll catch a lot more stuff. Like I said, I think I'll rewatch it more, and I think I'll add it to my physical media collection. I can see myself buying this one. It's definitely one as a keeper. It's definitely one of the great sequels like ever made.
Do you have the DVD of Into the Spider-Verse, or you have not?
Into the Spider-Verse, that's the only one I need to buy. I was looking for the steelbook for it. You have what do you have? DVD?
Yeah. No,
I don't do DVD. You know me. I do 4K, baby. You know how it goes around here.
I'm pretty sure I know why your favorite, well, not your favorite, but Homecoming's almost your favorite Tom Holland movie.
Why?
We all know why. It's because you love Batman and Michael Keaton. It's because you love.
But it's not because he was Batman. I just think Michael Keaton is a really, really good actor, and he's like so menacing in that movie.
That's what you say now.
Because he plays the ultimate good guy in Batman, and then he plays like the ultimate bad guy in this one. So that's a good actor when you can play like both those kind of roles.
Different years though.
Yeah, but he's still good. He's so good in Homecoming. He's the best part of that movie. All right, my final question to you, and this is not related. We're moving off of Spider-Man. We're like deep in the summer movie season already. Is there stuff that you haven't seen yet, or stuff upcoming that you want to see?
I definitely want to see Barbie. I really want to see how that movie plays out. I mean, the trailer, I kind of got confused on what was going to happen, so you had to explain it to me. Basically, it's her experience the real world, experiencing reality where life's not perfect, where it's all over the place. And as we see, she goes to jail multiple times and escapes Mattel, the person that creates her.
I'm definitely going to see that movie along with Oppenheimer. But yes, I'm excited for Barbie just because Margot Robbie is my favorite actress, and she's perfect in anything. And I think she was perfectly cast as Barbie. Like, that's just the perfect role for her. Just like Harley Quinn was. So she's just a tremendous actress. And Ryan Gosling's, he's good when he plays like the idiot, the dummy.
He is playing one of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's good in those roles. Like, there's a movie that you've never seen. It's still, you probably wouldn't like it. It's a buddy cop movie. It's called The Nice Guys, and he plays like that same kind of character, just this goofy, dummy guy. But he's perfect for that. Like, he has that range where he can be totally serious, but then he can be a complete goof like the next. So I'm really looking forward to that Barbie movie. Anything else?
I mean, I'm a little bit, not a lot, like not really big, but I'm like a little bit interested to see what happens in The Flash.
The Flash. Oh, okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd go see it, but I definitely would.
But you wouldn't hate it either if you went.
I don't know if I'd hate it. The trailer kind of seems all over the place though, because like I don't know which Batman's playing at which. Like, Ben Affleck's the one on the motorcycle,
yeah.
And then you can tell Michael Keaton because he's real old, and you can see like his face, but
it's kind of dealing with like the same stuff that Spider-Man's in now,
exactly,
or just the whole multiverse thing now.
I know, but like, are they not copying?
Well,
it's not copying, but like, it's kind of taking what Marvel's doing. Like, they're doing where all the dimensions are connected.
Well, can we say that everybody's copying what Spider-Verse did? Because they kind of set the table. Because remember, that movie came out first before they were doing anything with multiverse. So, and they kind of did it in a way where it's like kind of smart.
Marvel took the Into the Spider-Verse movie and decided to make this whole new, like,
well, you can say No Way Home is basically a live action version of Into the Spider-Verse.
Really?
Right? Like, it's kind of, you can say Marvel was copying itself, like, by doing that.
Marvel was copying itself. And then now the DC is, like, seeing what went on in Into the Spider-Verse, which I'm just assuming, like, this is just a random guess, but it's not copying because they're making it their own storyline. But it's also kind of doing what, No Way Home did. Like, you got the original Batmans, and then in that one you have the original Spider-Mans, and then Tom Holland or Spider-Man in that one would be definitely the Flash in the new one, and then Supergirl would be MJ. Because I kind of hint that there's gonna be like a little crush on her.
The only way I could see it being like it would really be copying like No Way Home would be like if Christian Bale's Batman shows up in that movie.
Imagine a little.
It would be crazy because he's my favorite. He's my Batman because that's the one that like I just solidified as the best Batman. If he showed up in that movie, even though it wouldn't make sense because that's more like of a real world kind of Batman, which is why it's kind of more beloved. I think audiences would go crazy. But I don't think it's going to happen. But if that does happen, then you can kind of say like, well, that's exactly what they did in No Way Home. So
but DC is not copying Marvel, but they're getting ideas like to what can you make your movies better to make them different. It's not copying, it's just kind of getting ideas from, like, it doesn't matter, like, even though y'all are different, like, universes, different, like, makers, y'all can do ideas from each other. It'll make your, like, movies better, grow bigger, be different, have higher money.
Well, for live action, yes, Marvel were the first ones to do it, but really DC, if you go back to the cartoons, like, what this new Flash movie is based on is a cartoon and a comic called Flashpoint, where it was about Flash going back in time to save his mom. But when he does that, it changes like everything. Like, you know, Batman's parents never died, but then I think the dad becomes like an evil Batman or something like that. Like, there's just all these different things happen.
It's kind of like dealing with what, like, the comics kind of like Across the Spider-Verse. Like, he messes with one thing and it changes everything. Like, when he moves that captain and the daughter away, or kid, and moves them away, and then Miguel's like, you just changed the whole universe. And even though it's something really small, you still change the whole universe.
So that's what we're getting right now in movies. So it's going to be interesting if they go back to just straight up singular stories. Now everything's just going to be like a huge thing.
Movies have to be really interesting and like live actiony, like, this Flash movie's probably gonna do good. I don't know if it's gonna beat Across the Spider-Verse. I think it'll
Probably
be like,
not. I don't think so, to be honest. I'm being
like
honest. I don't
second.
think so.
I think it's gonna be like second to line with that one. I definitely think it's gonna be Transformers. I think there's been like so many of them.
Yeah.
What other movies are coming out?
Are you interested? I mean, it's a different animation, kind of like what they're doing, but does the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look interesting to you? Or not really?
No, I still like the live action ones because you could make fun of that movie so many times, but it's so enjoyable to watch. Like that one scene where we can see the guy in the costume.
Yeah.
You can make fun of it, but it's also enjoyable to watch. The new one, I don't know, it just kind of, it's just basically the live action just turned into animation.
But I feel like they're also trying, again, I think Into the Spider-Verse has a lot of influence because the animation's kind of different, so.
Yeah, you can definitely see a resemblance of how Into the Spider-Verse plays out, and then that one, because like you can see animation similarities, but it's like they're influenced by it. It's not copying or just cheating off of it to just do movies. Like it's influencing to make their movies better. Going off to another topic, Elemental. I don't know about that one. It just doesn't seem interesting. It's kind of just Disney movies have not been doing good, except The Little Mermaid. I'm pretty sure that one's like really good. I've heard really good things about it. But Disney like shows and movies, they're kind of going down. Like
they used to be like the kings, like no one could touch them, but now it feels like they look like, I was watching the trailer like with you, like for Elemental, and I'm just like, man, you look at the animation and Across the Spider-Verse, and it looks like way better than what they're doing at Pixar.
I think they're just throwing it like you're getting what, like Toy Story 5, Frozen 3, like all the oldies, well not oldies, but like the ones that they had like a big impact on, they're just bringing it back. But that's what's gonna bore people. Because people don't want to see the same thing. And even though you change the story, it's still the same characters, same kind of storyline what you're doing. But you need to make a storyline where people will actually go see it and like really be into it. Because all these movies that Disney's making, like just reruns, aren't gonna do good.
Like what's the last Disney movie you saw where you were like, that wasn't good, or I didn't really care about it? Like have you seen any of the, like did you watch, what was the last Pixar movie that, like did you see Lightyear?
No, I did not see that one. To me it didn't look interesting. I know my mom wanted to take us, but then we never went to go see it. And I was like kind of debating to watch it on my own, but I was like, it just looks boring. Like it's just how the story of, what was it, Buzz Aldrin or something?
No, it's the story. It's the story of the character that inspired the toy. What is Lightyear, folks? I still can't. Someone explain to me what that movie is. I think that's what it is.
I'm kind of glad that I didn't see it.
It's about the character or the real life character in that world that inspired the toy. Right?
Sense.
It's just, that's how they tried to explain it. It's like, why didn't they just do an actual Buzz Lightyear movie with Tim Allen and make it wacky, and at least it would have been its own adventure instead of trying to do this hybrid, like meta real character based on somebody real. It was so stupid, and it flopped bad. Like I told everyone at work, I kept telling them it's gonna flop, and they're like, "No, it's Disney, it's gonna do well." Like no, and sure enough, it didn't do well.
The only Disney movie that actually was good, I think it came out like a year ago, was Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Even though that one was like a reboot, it's because you get so many cameos of different like universes.
But it told a different story too.
It told a different story, and like it has like all these cameos, and some aren't even from Disney. Like you've got Ugly Sonic.
Yeah.
That was the funny part, and then like The Simpsons, but Disney owns Simpsons, so that's why they're in there. But like I know there's this character from South Park. Because I've like on the TV you'll see like and it's Stan, no not Stan, what's his name, Randy, and he's like in the sauna. Like you get all these like characters that aren't even a part of Disney, like from different like,
but they're telling a fresh and different story.
Like it's different because you've got Chip from the 90s and then you've got Dale as this new animated character, the CGI effect, and then you get like Ugly Sonic, you get like Beauty and the Beast's Candle, I forgot the name. You get like all these like different characters in the story, which makes it a bigger storyline. And how like the most obvious character to be the main like problem is obviously the one, but that's what makes it turn because they think it's Ellie, but it's not Ellie.
Right.
It's the Putty or something, whatever his name is. But that was the only good Disney movie that's come out. Like that new show, American Born Chinese. What is it like? I don't get it.
I don't know. I just think there's too much stuff out there now, and it's like back like when I was growing up, it was just the movies. And then, like, the shows that you would get, like, on ABC, NBC, like, but now there's, like, shows everywhere, and, like, this show, that American-born Chinese, like, who's that show for? Like, I get it, they're being more diverse and stuff like that, but also, you gotta make stuff that appeals to everybody.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Like, it's dealing with the real world, and then it's going to mystical.
Yeah.
Like, what? I
don't know. They're just... Disney's really like on the downscale right now. And again, last thing on the Elemental trailer, like I'm watching it and I'm like, how does this look? And it doesn't look any different than what was that other one? Inside Out. Like it looks like the same.
It literally looks the same. Inside Out was way better.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it looks the same.
Inside Out too.
Probably.
I've heard rumors about that one.
I mean, they're gonna just do regular sequels where like they could mix it up. Like why haven't they? Here's what I've always wondered about Disney. Why haven't they made like a Pixar, like just capitalizing just recently on the Super Mario Brothers? Why haven't they done a movie like that about Mickey Mouse?
They should definitely.
Why haven't they done that?
They should do on how like Mickey Mouse became so popular. Even though you've seen all these documentaries, what about Mickey Mouse's point of view? Like we always get Walt Disney's and then like the animators. We want Mickey. Like, I think want to hear the story of them. Like
if Disney came back, if Disney really wanted to come back, they should do like some like the way they did Mario Brothers. Like that was perfect because it appealed to like the older audiences who grew up with it, but also like bringing in the younger generation and introducing them, and it combined
tells their story on why.
And it was simple too. Yeah. I never saw Super Mario Brothers, but it was a pretty basic story, right?
It was funny. It was definitely very funny when the Peaches song came out. I know that's very popular, very funny to enjoy. It was a funny movie. I liked it. I'd definitely watch it again. It's not one of those movies that flops that you don't want to see it again. But like with all these Disney movies, they're just bad. Like Lightyear obviously didn't do a good job. Elemental, I think the younger kids are going to go see it, but I don't know if they're going to have like a huge impact on them. Because like
it's not even going to do as good as Spider-Man. Like that's crazy.
Spider-Man this year is probably going to beat all the movies that are coming out.
Yeah, but that's crazy though because it didn't used to be like that.
Yeah, like when it first came out, everybody's like, "Oh, it's probably just going to be another Spider-Man recreation." But it was way different than all the other Spider-Mans you've seen before. But all these Disney movies that are coming out, even the Disney Junior shows, like I don't watch it, but I'll be seeing it. The only one that's probably good is Spidey and His Amazing Friends because everybody just loves the Spider-Man character, and I know you love the theme song by Fall Out Boy. But like, there's so many random shows on Disney Junior now. Like, it's just so random. Like, do shows like bring back the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Like that would have boomed back up.
I think even if they did like, because I think Mickey Mouse is part of like the Kingdom of Hearts or something like that. Like the video game is very popular. Just do stuff like that. I think that's seriously what Disney needs to get back on track because they're, I mean, outside of Marvel, and even then, Marvel starting the MCU. I mean, I don't know. You didn't finish watching Ant-Man and the Wasp, did you? Quantumania. Oh man, was that bad? Me and Lily fell asleep. You fell asleep, I think.
No.
Or did you not even watch it?
No, I saw it, but I think I don't know. I was like on my phone because I was like.
And Lily could watch stuff like, but she was like knocked out within 10 minutes of that movie. Like she had enough of it. I was like
the character that had the head, like the head guy, like that movie was so random. Definitely Ant-Man and the Wasp would beat all the Ant-Mans, even though I don't even remember Ant-Man 1, but Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, Ant-Man 1 is way better than Quantumania for sure. Oh man,
Ant-Man and the Wasp made me laugh so many times because. It's just so funny, but the Quantumania did not make me laugh. I mean, it did because of how cringy
it was. How stupid it was?
How stupid it was. But it wasn't like how the better ones, where I laughed at like actual funny parts. It was just kind of a mess. Like, it was everywhere. Like,
I mean, outside of Guardians, which was really good, I think you should watch that one. I think you would really like it. the MCU's just they're going down to like I'm not excited for any of their stuff. I think Guardians might be my last thing, and I'm sure I'll probably maybe watch Avengers whenever they do it. But how can I get excited about all these new characters? Like I don't care about Sam as Captain America, Shang-Chi, whatever, the Eternals, whatever. If they bring Tom Holland Spider-Man into it, which they're gonna have to do it, and he would be the leader of the Avengers. Well, yeah, I'll be into that.
I definitely would want to watch the Marvels. It's all about like girl power and like dealing, and it's not just like Captain Marvel. It's like Miss Marvel from the TV show, which I haven't watched. I've been meaning to watch it, just like been watching other stuff, and then you get the one from.
Was it WandaVision?
Yeah, I liked WandaVision.
WandaVision was good. I liked that one.
And then I know that they're making a spin-off show about the witch.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna watch that one.
Yeah. Either way, Disney's got to get its act together, or if not, they're making other good stuff, which includes Across the Spider-Verse, which we spent a good amount of time talking about today. I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. We talked a lot here about the stuff that we liked about the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man in general, and just what Bella's gonna be watching this summer, and just all that good stuff. So. Thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I loved being on here.
All right. We'll see when we'll get you back on. Maybe towards the end of summer, see if we can do...
Maybe when the Barbie movie comes out.
Maybe we could do a Barbie episode. So
all about Barbie.
I don't know all about the Barbie, but the Barbie movie...
I know the Barbie universe.
Okay, well,
I grew up with Barbie.
You could teach me about that or talk about that, and we can while talking about the movie as well. That's going to do it for this episode. You can catch this on Spotify, podcast, on Apple... basically anywhere where you can get your podcast, you can listen to this. I do distribute it through my socials on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram through podbean.com. You can download the app for that as well. It's another outlet for you to listen to this podcast. Leave us any feedback. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next episode.